the fact that Guernsey has still only got a population of 60,000, it's not that much smaller than Jersey. Why is that, do you think?
Well, I heard a report on Channel TV that their government in the budget has decided to release the population cap, and they've obviously applied a stricter policy restriction. And of course, anecdotally, one knows that the controls in Guernsey are tight, particularly over the local.
Because that is Jersey's population of the 1960s. All the major boom time, building time, has taken place since the 1960s in Jersey. And so the population here has gone up from 60,000 to over 100,000. Guernsey's population has hardly changed at all, really. It's changed a couple of thousand, a few thousand, but nothing very dramatically, has it?
Yes, well, I'm not a great expert on the past trends, but what I did notice is that Jersey's population has gone up by 10,000 in the last, I think, around about year 2004. So I think there's been quite a big increase in the last decade. And I think the worrying thing is that one hasn't seen the economic growth. One hasn't seen the economic growth as a result of that increase.
But these
in
are people
population.
who are working. There's very few unemployed people in Jersey. You've got 100,000 people,
yes,
virtually all working.
It
so
is.
They're busy doing nothing.
It is. So therefore, the trends on comparing the income per capita historically are quite important. And I think where we've ended up now, and this is where I think this recent report is so important, I think Jersey and Guernsey are now, on the 2014 reports, pretty well equivalent. Our income, gross earnings per head, I don't mean people's personal earnings, I mean GVA per head, are pretty equivalent between both islands. The figures show that Guernsey has coped with the recession. The recession has had less effect on Jersey. So I think the key thing is looking to the future. What does that say? And so when I see reports from Mr. Mark Bollier, who apparently now we've put on a think tank, I had hoped, I've always been keen on a think tank. I had hoped the States might appoint them. But anyway, no, obviously it's been self-appointed. Saying
what they call the Jersey way.
Yeah, and then I had read that he's argued, well, this proves, in fact, he mentioned Alderney, but I've never seen him in Alderney. It proves that Jersey needs to increase its population because of the, quotes, black hole. But of course, I think what that says to me is, well, in Jersey's problem is the inflexibility or the limitations on collecting income tax from the resident population, which is because there's no corporate tax in Jersey. No. And of course, interesting.
What happened in Guernsey? They were going to have a GST.
Well, this is very interesting. I advocated a introduction of some corporate tax on locally trading businesses in Jersey in the elections. Interesting enough, so did all the other ministers agree with me, but has it happened in Jersey? No. I read last week, what's in the Guernsey budget 2016? They've introduced a measure of applying 20% tax on corporate operating businesses in Guernsey. Now, I ask, if Guernsey can do it, why can't Jersey? So when I read this Mark Bollier thing, I thought, well, is it right? Should we not have a proper examination of those figures and test out what he's saying? Because we do need to understand the relationship between earnings, population, but of course the higher the population you have, the greater your costs, the greater the long-term costs that are going to have to be funded.
Well, you suddenly need a much greater hospital, don't you? And much greater schools and all the rest of it that goes with them. The roads get worn out quicker and everything happens, doesn't it?
I have never seen a decent economic model setting out these important key variables which will enable us to reach a conclusion. At the moment, what we've done, we've increased the population, we've increased our costs, and yet our tax yield has not grown.
My simple question is, can Jersey learn anything from Alderney?
Well, yes, I think living within its means. Ironically, I want to see high quality services, but I think there's always the question of inefficiencies of scale. And I do think Jersey has very much grown I think, a very fat and bloated public sector. And my strong push when I was elected was to try and get the inefficiencies and unnecessary administration weeded out. And I'm been very, very upset to see that the first target of cuts is to get rid of the TTS guys, the very people that go out at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, clearing the drains, dealing with the seawalls that fall down. Those are the people that are going to take the hit for what, 4.5 million saving, and yet what have we wasted on other projects which are known? And it's the top. I really have been unhappy about the administrative overhead at the very top level. What's happened about that?
When's the Alderney project, the energy project, likely to start turning on the electricity?
2023 for around 100 megawatts is the earliest, and full implementation by 2030.
And will that have a very dramatic impact on their economy?
I can't say. There is an expectation locally that it will produce significant financial gains.
Because up in the Scottish Islands, they were producing so much electricity by wind turbines, I think, that they were having to boil kettles, we're told, to get rid of it because they didn't know what to do with it.
I'm not privy to those agreements. I think you're going to have to ask other people that are. But certainly, I do know there's an expectation that if these projects run,
right,
and renewable energy is vital for the world, and everybody knows it, and especially
this week of all
weeks with the great news.
That's right.
Oh, the Paris conference.
The world will be looking at Alderney.
Well, Alderney is ahead of the pack in its planning. Obviously, those decisions are yet to be made. As I said, they are public, political decisions, not mine. My job is to help manage the process.
We should have to send the Foreign Secretary up there to have a look at it. I think we better stop there.
Okay.